Welcome to the SVG-TV News on Thursday, August 5th. I'm Khalil Keita with the details. The opposition New Democratic Party, trade unions and other concerned citizens today came together for a protest action in capital Kingstown during the sitting of Parliament on a number of issues, specifically proposed changes to the country's public health laws. In a statement issued by the Office of the Prime Minister last Friday, it was noted that the Public Health Amendments Bill 2021 does not make mandatory or compulsory the vaccinating or testing of persons in respect of COVID-19. It, however, expressed the intention of the government to make rules under the Public Health Act to require certain categories of employees in the public sector, central government or state enterprises to take the vaccine in order to work in certain specified frontline jobs. Among the protesters today were some frontline workers who are opposed to the changes in the act, which will require them to get vaccinated. A number of nurses who are considered frontline workers heeded the call of their union to be a part of today's protest action. Some of them told our news team that they felt compelled to stand up for their rights.
A lot of nurses want to come out, but because of personal fear and their own personal experience, they are afraid. But somebody must stand up. Somebody must say no. Somebody must start somewhere. And I am here as a nurse in full uniform to make a statement. I say no. I say no to taking away my personal right, my patient right, my child's right, my husband's right in this nation.
I also think that I have a right to choose what goes into my body, because once it gets in, I can't take it out back. Yes, the research says that this might happen or that might happen, but what if something comes in the future, then we don't have a right to what happens to our bodies. So I am here standing for my right to choose in regards to my body, whether it's for the vaccine or if something comes in the future.
The nurses said they are not afraid of discrimination as they will continue to stand up for their freedom of choice.
All over the world. I am not exclusive to St. Vincent. I could walk anywhere and I could also walk independently. I could become a home helper. I could go and help people in my community. I am a nurse. My skills are in my hands and my head, in my thoughts and my analysis. It is not in a hospital only, nor a clinic. I am needed everywhere, all over the world.
One male nurse made it clear that he is not anti-vax, as he took the job already. However, he said he is opposed to making vaccines mandatory for nurses and other frontline workers.
I am for vaccination. I am vaccinated with the COVID vaccine, but I don't think it's right for you to force it on people. You have a choice, you have rights. Leave me with them. I have human rights. I am not anything against the government. I am against the bill to vaccinate people forcefully. That's just my stand.
Some customs officers were also seen on the picket line today. Customs officer Alfonso said that he took time out from work to stand up not only for himself, but for those who are afraid to do so.
And what the Prime Minister is actually saying, if we choose not to take the vaccine based on religious reasons or some health issue, then if the employer can accommodate us, then there'll be a place. If not, we have no job. So why sit at the job trying to perform your duties, not knowing what your future will be? So this is my reason for taking a stand. I believe this will impact the future of our people and the freedom of our people. God has given us the freedom to choose. And God doesn't smite us if even we don't choose Him. He still gives liberty and freedom to people to live and to do as they so please.
The customs officer said that vaccines should never be made mandatory.
I don't have no fear of that. God has not given me a spirit of fear. When I see injustice, I believe it's my duty to take a stand. Because we stand not only for ourselves, but we stand for the nation. We stand for our children, we stand for whoever, because this vaccine is not an approved vaccine. This vaccine has already been causing a lot of people a lot of side effects, even death. I have a friend who took it, and by the time he took it, they told him if he didn't take it, he couldn't come to the job. He took it, and yet for over a month he couldn't hardly move. And as a young man like myself who was very physical and fit, working in the construction area.
A number of teachers were also seen in the protest action, but they shied away from speaking on camera. Some of the other protesters said they asked for time off from work to let their voices be heard, like this prison officer, Gillian Griffith, who said that for too long she has been sidelined.
An assistant secretary in the Ministry of National Security, and I have been placed at Her Majesty's Prisons, Whitechapel, for over 8 years. I am here to stand on my own behalf, and I'm standing for the prison officers who, like me, have been bypassed, sidelined, overlooked for promotion. I have been in one position, Assistant Secretary, for over 20 years. And I am standing up because I am tired, and I am standing up for my rights because the only people standing with me and for me is the Public Service Union, of which I'm a member. And so I'm here to register to add my voice to the voices of so many others.
Another protester, Brian Alexander, says he is speaking out for the police officers who, unfortunately, could not join the protest action.
Today is a day for me to come here to be heard. It's and with my placard, it's pertinent also in that the police too, according to this new law that I've read, I hope I read it right. I'm no lawman. I'm just a layman when it comes to law. That people on the forefront will have to take the vaccine, as far as I know. Police is on the forefront. So my poster read, police too will have to take the jab by force. Because it's by force. Mandatory really means force.
During the afternoon break of Parliament, Opposition Leader Dr. Godwin Friday came out to address the crowd, which was observed to be the largest in recent times. He told the protesters that he opposed the Public Health Amendment Bill 2021, noting that some adjustments were made, but it is still unacceptable.
Those men, you never know, when we go back in Parliament this afternoon, you might get the fourth version. Because those people who are accountable, who are responsible for the legislation and the passing of it, must be held accountable by the people of this country. Because we can argue. We can argue that we are going to do this and we are going to do that. But we are in the minority in the Parliament. We got the most votes in the election. So out here is where our voice is loudest. And this is why I know you out here on the streets of Kingston today.
Dr. Friday also cleared the air on his position on vaccination, noting that he is not opposed to vaccines, but opposed to making vaccines mandatory.
We are opposed to mandatory vaccination. This is what we've said from the very beginning. The government's still playing an old ad by motor telling us, what do you say? You can't leave this or take this. Yes, it's the same old tired. Lego this thing, yes. That's been going on 6 months now. How is that going to encourage anybody to do anything? No information, no way, no consultation. All they're coming is just basically we have the power, and so you'll damn well do what we need. And that is the fundamental difference. The second is, of course, if I am a medical, if I have a doctor.
Throughout the day, the protesters walked through the streets of Kingstown, chanting "Kill the Bill" and blowing horns. A number of van drivers from the Bill Air area also pulled off the road to join the protesters through the streets. And Prime Minister Dr. Alf Gonsalves said some frontline workers would be exempted from taking the COVID-19 vaccines for 2 reasons: deep-held religious beliefs and medical grounds in which the person must present a certificate by their medical practitioner approved by the Chief Medical Officer. The Prime Minister was at the time speaking last evening on a program on VC3 on the Public Health Amendment Bill 2021.
That the occupants of those jobs will have the choice of taking the vaccine or not taking the vaccine. If you don't take the vaccine, well, then you get another job. If you don't want to take the vaccine, but you have or even if you want to take it, but you have an exemption, and the exemption you can get only on 2 grounds. On a certificate by the medical practitioner approved by the chief medical officer certifying that the vaccination is not advisable on medical grounds, or the person objects in good faith, the frontline employee objects in good faith and in writing that vaccination is contrary to his or her religious beliefs, and the employer, that is to say the government or the state enterprise, is unable to make alternative arrangements to accommodate the employee. You can't just say that, and because you declare it, that everything, you're there. If you can't work in a frontline job during a public health emergency.
Speaking on the COVID-19 variants which have been wreaking havoc in other countries, PM Gonzalez stressed the importance of frontline workers being vaccinated.
This public health emergency, the following things are arising currently. One, Teresa, there are some deadly variants in the world, including the Delta, the Brazilian variant, other variants which are emerging, and they're already within the Caribbean. Fortunately, we haven't had them here as yet. But I will tell you the circumstances where they are likely to come here. And everybody knows that once you're having people coming in, and you must have people coming in for the purposes of tourism and the economy. The second thing is that we need to get back as far as practicable to some sense of normalcy, even in the circumstances of COVID-19, in this public health emergency, this pandemic.
In the afternoon session of Parliament, the protesters became even more rowdy, with debris being burnt outside the prison gates. And as the Prime Minister was making his way back to Parliament, he was accosted by the protesters and was injured in the process. He was reportedly rushed to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital for medical attention. The severity of his injuries at this time, however, is not yet known. Chief Executive Officer of the SVG Tourism Authority, Glenn Beach, has emphasized the need for more quality tourism packages from SVG. Addressing the virtual tourism stakeholders conference, Beach noted that there are several campaigns in the works to promote and market SVG as the ultimate Caribbean destination. However, the packages being offered are important as airlines look towards the tour operating aspect of their business.
Social media has become a big part of our lives. Discover SVG is a big part of our lives. As a matter of fact, one of the things we plan to do is that of a digital campaign. That should be coming up in September and October. We also plan to do our digital road shows. We plan to have a marketing campaign with Air Canada, because believe it or not, as much as we no longer have contracts with Air Canada, Caribbean Airlines, American Airlines, because thank God we have proven our worth in salt, that we no longer have to have a letter of credit or anything. They have decided that they make enough money that they no longer have to depend on us in any way or form to fly into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But we are still responsible to a certain extent for filling those seats. They also want to make money, and this is one of the most important aspects of their business. The tour operating side, they make so much more money from that aspect of it if it's done properly. So that plays an important role.
Beach further shared his frustration with the lack of innovation being employed as it relates to said packages, despite what he said are several attempts to educate stakeholders on revamping their products.
Irks me in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because I became marketing manager in 2001, and we started speaking about packages. Minister in 2005 brought in 2 experts to speak about packages. CEO late 2010 brought in Aspen to speak about packages and to go on their system. It has to be a collaborative effort. And part of the problem is simply this. The industry has changed. It will continue to change. It is no different to law, medicine, engineering, anything. It is an industry that you have to continuously read upon and educate yourself on.
The Tourism Authority CEO noted that given the level of diversity that exists in the multi-island destination of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, stakeholders must formulate products to capitalize on what the industry has to offer.
Understand that we are up against every other country in the world for the tourism dollar. I make it clear that the product of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, what makes us distinct is diversity. I think there are only 2 countries in the region that can compare to us in terms of diversity. One is that of the Bahamas and the other is that of Jamaica. And we have to capitalize on that. There is no reason in a destination like St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we're a multi-island destination, where we can't have packages for staying on St. Vincent and on Bequia. Might be a bit more difficult with some of the other islands because of the range of product in terms of the hotels, but it's a start. The product that is St. Vincent and the Grenadines involves every single one of us.
In her address at the opening of the Virtual Tourism Conference, Cultural Officer Maxine Brown highlighted the importance of incorporating culture into the tourism product, as the sun, sand and sea narrative can no longer stand alone as travelers are searching for a deeper experience. Brown detailed practical steps that can be taken to fuse culture into the tourism package.
How can hotels, and I hope Kim is paying attention, plan their part in this cultural tourism? The answer may be obvious, but unless you change your hotel culture to make an exerted effort to engage and include culture, we will be basically spinning top and mud, as the old people say. You have to make culture an important part of your package, and now how can you do that? Culture has the answer. Engage your guests, or our guests, we claim them all. Immerse your guests in a cultural experience, an evening rather of excellence, a special show at your base, and or at another location where you can collaborate with another entity and organize a package to take your guests to a show, whether special and or season, from your hotel and back. These events can surely give them a taste of our culture by incorporating gigs for our local or from our local artists, the food, the art, the craft, the fashion, the performing arts, yes. They can get vicarious experience elsewhere, but you have to make the deal. It's our guests, treat them well.
Several tips were given to hoteliers and other stakeholders, noting the importance of accentuating and promoting what their space is best known for. The cultural officer also highlighted how stakeholders can target and maintain business within the local market.
We are not sending you out anywhere to look for new ideas. We want you to take your stronghold. What positively sets you apart to provide that experience to capitalize on the advantage? Think carefully why people come to the area and reference it heavily in your offering. To speak of local is to also speak of our domestic tourists. And it is important to emphasize that with all that has beset us, this industry and with COVID-19 continued effects on international travel, it has become important for hoteliers to focus on domestic tourism. And some of the areas I highlighted earlier, like restaurants and bar, perhaps even Dream and a little spa experience, yes, treat the body good, could well continue to be the attraction to our local customers. Indeed, those are some areas you can just get the locals to support, which can lead them to stay overnight on the Taker's Staycation, utilize your day pass, and I've used them so many times for April 20th, my birthday, remember that? As we anxiously await the return to normalcy. But until then, it is our duty to evaluate and reevaluate how we can use this time to our advantage.
Brown also noted the various aspects of Vincential culture that can be capitalized on and exploited through the island's tourism offerings.
There are too the complaints when you fail to embrace cultural tourism. But with the training of artists and the development and upkeep of the sites, this could give us a lead, a big step in the way forward as we continue at culture to train our workers. So I'm skipping. See, this is what I know you will say it all. It is important, just as important to emphasize that our cultural, Vincentian cultural dynamics offers a complex and exciting tapestry beyond carnival and its related activities. Our masquerade and ever-evolving musical genre often feature our tourism services, with the ingredients of theatrical dance and poetry, sketch, traditional food, musical instrument, major historical events. and our triumphs and our trial must be featured prominently into tourism services. We have a story to tell, and it's true culture and our cultural tourism that it can be told as we embrace it, as we edutain.
The World Pediatric Project has announced that their surgical clinics will resume here in SVG next month. In a telephone interview with SVG-TV News, Executive Director of the World Pediatric Project, Lauren McIntosh, said there will be a team of vaccinated healthcare professionals coming to SVG to conduct a scoliosis diagnostic clinic and other clinics in September.
Yes, we hope to resume our teams coming back to St. Vincent in September, starting with our general orthopedic team, and we will also have a scoliosis team coming later on that month, a urology team hopefully, in addition to other teams coming before the end of the year, which we are planning. All of our teams are fully vaccinated, so we welcome them back to our shores. We know they're anxious and ready to help more children, as obviously as a result of the pandemic, we have not had a team on the ground in over a year.
Meanwhile, the World Pediatric Project, along with the Ministry of Health and the New Health Investment of Dominica, signed a Memorandum of Understanding last month, which will see the first scoliosis diagnostic clinic conducted in Dominica.
At that clinic, at the Scoliosis Diagnostic Clinic, we were able to see 28 children from Dominica, and our pediatric orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Chester Sharps, was able to identify whether the children need physical therapy, if they were identified for bracing, or if they require surgical intervention with one of our visiting teams, or if they need to go to the United States at one of our partner hospitals. We're very, very pleased that we were able to have both the diagnostic clinic, which was the first of its kind, as well as to crystallize the partnership and the collaboration between the government of Dominica as well as World Pediatric Project. So we hope that the coming years we will see more children from Dominica and be able to help them. We have about 311 children that we have helped from Dominica over the last 12 or so years.
Yesterday, representative of the REMAX relief effort, Barbara Erdley, handed over a check amounting to 10,000 DC dollars along with barrels of foodstuff to the Afro-Caribbean Services SVG Inc. The Afro-Caribbean Services SVG Inc. is a charitable organization based in Arnesvale that has been working since the eruptions of the La Soufrière volcano to assist persons who were most impacted, particularly the evacuees who were not housed in public shelters. Founder of the organization, Rachel Douglas, thanked REMAX for the donation, noting that it will go a long way to continue to assist the impacted persons.
Now in my home country is a blessing. I hope that ACS SVG can work alongside REMAX and we can do some great stuff. We want to fight hunger insecurity, we want to tackle period poverty and just give a helping hand to those who really need it the most, not just in times of natural disaster but when life is just normal, you know. Some people do need a helping hand, so Afro-Caribbean Services are here, we're new. Thank you to Barbara because this is amazing. It's going to go a long, long way to help all the families that have registered with us, and yeah, God bless REMAX. We have a food pantry that is serving families from the red zone and also those out of work due to COVID-19. So this $10,000 will be going to purchase goods like tin food, cleaning products, clothes, stuff that are not shipped down from the UK and the States, so we'll go to purchase that here and support the local economy as well in St. Vincent. So that's what this will be used for.
Barbara Erdley briefly commented on how the donations were made possible. She said the director of REMAX Marketing, Christopher Charlesworth, was able to set up a GoFundMe page in Toronto, Canada, following the volcanic eruption, and was able to successfully collect approximately 10,000 DC dollars.
REMAX did. Christopher, or Director of Marketing in Toronto, set up a GoFundMe page there. And so we were able to collect not only goods for the evacuees, but also we collected $10,000. What we decided to do was partner with Afro-Caribbean Services, a charity that is now in Arnesvale. So Rachel, it is our pleasure to partner with you, not just on the volcanic relief, but also for the rest of the year for donations from more commissions to assist you to help in the community.
Devon Butte, a police officer of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, was elected unopposed to serve as the president of the Caribbean Federation of Police Welfare Associations, Inc. His colleague, Police Constable Samora Kwashi, the present General Secretary of the local Police Welfare Association, was also elected as Assistant Treasurer. Over a 3-day conference, July 28th to 30th, the Caribbean Federation of Police Welfare Associations, CFPWA, held its 9th annual general meeting virtually, with the host country being Montserrat, under the theme, Creating Connections, Building Bridges Together. On the final day of the conference, the organization held its elections for the 11 vacant executive committee posts with 19 nominees. The 16 member states elected a new executive committee to preside over the affairs of the CFPWA by its constitution. President Butte thanked all those who participated in the 3-day virtual annual general meeting, noting that the Federation has a lot of potential and the new executive desires to realize this. Police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of Jexel Skinner, an insurance broker of Edinburgh. Police say, according to investigations, at about 4:30 p.m. on Wednesday, the deceased was at a barber shop within the Baines building located on Halifax Street in Kingstown when he allegedly got into an altercation with Barrington Cornwall, a barber of Prospect. Skinner was allegedly stabbed multiple times about his body with a pair of scissors. He was subsequently rushed to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. Barrington Cornwall is currently in police custody, assisting with investigations. A post-mortem examination is expected to be carried out on the body to ascertain the exact cause of death. Skinner's death marks the 24th homicide for the year 2021. Persons with information pertaining to this investigation are asked to contact the Assistant Commissioner in charge of crimes at 456-1339 or the officer in charge of the Criminal Investigations Department or Major Crimes Unit at 456-1810 or any police station or police officer you're comfortable with. All information, the police say, will be treated confidentially. Investigations into the incident are ongoing.